Good morning. Hope you're doing great today. We're going to start the day off right by getting into the Word of God. We're going to be in Numbers chapter 14. We're going to focus on verse 9 today. And let's just go ahead and read it right now. It says, "Do not rebel against the Lord. Do not be afraid of the people of the land, for they are only helpless prey to us. They have no protection, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." All right, let's go back a little bit here. So this is the people. This is the people rebelling against God. This is Israel specifically rebelling against God. And you can see here in verse 3, it says, "Why is the Lord?" This is the people talking. "Why is the Lord taking us to this country, only to have us die in battle? Our wives and our little ones will be carried off as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt?" So you got this group of people who have lived in slavery for roughly 400 years. God sets them free, and they are able to go after this other promise and actually seek that promise and dedicate their life to that purpose instead of just trying to survive as a slave to Egypt. And what do they say? Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt? Now, from us, thousands of years later, we're reading this. If you're doing the Bible reading plan, which hopefully some of you are, you're reading this and you're reading one day they're in slavery, and a couple weeks later you read that they're not, and they're whining about being free, basically. Like, can we just go back? So it is hard for us to overlook that because we are only a few weeks away here from reading where they're in slavery. You got to understand, like, we do the exact same thing. God will give us a great breakthrough, and then we'll face this overwhelming trial where our world gets turned upside down, and we begin to question God's presence in our life, even though years and years before, He had done amazing things. But in those situations, at those times, we lose track of that, and we think, wouldn't it be better if it's just this blessing never even came? So we might even take it a step further and shake our fists at Him and blame Him for the bleak situation. Why me, God? Why are you doing this? Where are you in my greatest hour of need? If you won't intervene, then I'll just do it my own way. We say all these things, and it's common. Something bad happens at work, in your marriage with your kids, and you turn to alcohol. It's like, I'm just going to take care of this pain myself. You go to substance or you go to food or whatever it is that you go to instead of going to God. Anyway, I don't want me to get off on the sidetrack there, but the Israelites did this when they learned that there were giants living in fortified cities within the Promised Land. They went out and checked it out. 12 spies, we talked about that before. Joshua and Caleb come back and they're positive, but that's only 2 out of 12. And so the people rebel. They are really rebelling at this time. So, due to their lack of belief, the Israelites were punished and they were sent to wander in the desert for 40 more years. They had they just believed and faced the difficulties, God would have helped them get through. But now their inheritance would have to wait. And so for 40 years, they have to wait, and that generation of people that rebelled died off, and this new generation was raised up of people that trusted God, and when they approached the same situation, they came at it with a mindset of trust in the Lord. Once we recognize our need for God and choose to trust Him and His promises, humility sets in. Then we're in a workable mindset that allows us to approach God with an open heart, receptive to His calling, and we're willing to listen to His voice at that time, patiently waiting for His perfect timing, and to trust Him to see us through the valley that we're facing. With God, we can overcome all things. So the difference is, if you have a trusting mindset, and believe me, this was a big journey for me to learn to trust the Lord, but when you trust the Lord with everything, you you live differently. Your mindset's differently. Your mental health's different. You live with peace because you trust him with the big things and the small things. You just live with different mindset. This mindset prepared Israel to walk into their promise. So for you and what you're going through, God is maybe speaking to you and promising you for big things and big moves and all this stuff, and you're excited about it, but maybe you haven't trusted God with it yet. Israel was excited about this promised land, and when they didn't get it the way they thought they were going to get it, that it would just be given to them and that God would just come in and do all the work, they got frustrated and they were forced to wonder. But the generation that rose up and that trusted him, God instructed them, gave them this instruction to carry out, and he went with them in that way. He's going to use his people to carry out his instructions and his will. So trust him with it. That's my message today. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Give him it all. Hope you have a wonderful day living in the trust of the Lord.